I'm gonna call the meeting. We are calling the April 14 Georgetown Select Board meeting to order. It is 7:01, and we have once again, thankfully, a multitude of people joining us live at the town office, and several of you on Zoom. And we've got some more folks to let in, please. Tyler?
As my head moves in a couple of directions tonight, if anyone sees I gotta add, just flag me.
Certainly.
You want me to take them out and do it?
I like the power. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I gotta make sure I'm muted.
Thank you.
I got them out.
To begin with, I'm going to advance one of the items on our agenda from the old business section, and that is the consideration of the proposed short-term rental ordinance. I will like to take a moment. I've been asked to give the chronology again by some residents, so I'll do that with a little less detail this time than I did last time. But in any event, this is the context and how we arrived at this draft ordinance. And through the summer and fall of last year, for those of y'all who've been following this issue or attending the planning board meetings, which are public meetings, the planning board presented their survey findings from the short-term rental survey to the select board. And in those findings, which arose out of the GAHI initiative, at least in part, if not primarily, the findings identified a need to at least consider a short-term rental solution, particularly around housing concerns and potential impacts on town resources like water, transfer station, those kinds of concerns. And at that time, it was raised in July, and by October, the select board requested that the planning board begin drafting an ordinance to create a registry with the goal of bringing something forward for public discussion. And over the course of their several public meetings, planning board devoted a significant amount of time and effort developing a proposed ordinance. The select board received our proposal about 5 weeks ago, March 6th, and we shared it publicly shortly thereafter. The initial feedback from residents and property owners was limited. And so, recognizing the importance of broader community input, we reached out to many of you. We posted and expanded our efforts on that goal of more outreach. As I said, we posted the draft ordinance. We started to receive more feedback through emails, conversations with any one of us who were stopped along the way, also at the town office, and impromptu discussions throughout the community. We also requested written responses from you. We then held an additional select board meeting last week on April 8th to provide an update and allow for extensive public comment. That was unusual. It was required. It was necessary to hear from all of you. By then, we had also scheduled, as you know, the public information meeting to ensure residents would have the opportunity to review and respond to the proposed ordinance before we made any decision on adding it to the town warrant. And so at last week's select board meeting, we experienced that engagement in a very significant way. If you were there, if you've watched, over 80 members attended from our community, with many offering comments both in person and on Zoom. We listened to all of you and to the numerous concerns outlining the potential impacts this proposed ordinance could have on members of our community. And we recognize that there are valuable points on both sides of this broader short-term rental question. Having said that, the overwhelming majority of comments have not been supportive of the current draft, with only 1 or 2 emails or comments expressing support. And as a board, we take that feedback seriously. We have to. Our responsibility is not only to consider the course of this action itself, or how the ordinance would play out day to day for Georgetowners affected by it, but also how it is understood, how it's experienced, and supported by our community as a whole. So what's before us tonight for action is the proposed draft ordinance. In its current form, it seems clear that there's minimal community support for its passage. And at the same time, we must recognize where things stand today. Given the continued level of opposition expressed, and in the interest of respecting our community's input, our planning board's input, and everyone's time, I believe it's most appropriate for us to bring this particular draft ordinance process to a close. And for that reason, I will entertain a motion regarding the proposed short-term rental ordinance.
I move that we table this draft ordinance indefinitely.
A second.
Is there discussion? I'd like to hear from either one of you if you have any points you'd like to make. There will be time for public comment, but we thought it important to take care of this business now. We have a busy night ahead of us.
And just for clarity, a parliamentarian side, do you mean indefinitely postpone versus table indefinitely?
A table means to put it aside.
Okay, I just wanted to get clarity for the
Yeah.
minute, so.
I wrote a statement kind of explaining where I'm
Sure.
at.
I have a statement also.
The goal of this ordinance was to gather data, a long-term goal to give us concrete information on how some of the housing in town is being used. I feel that this ordinance is addressing a problem that we haven't demonstrated exists because we don't have that data. And what I've been hearing is that short-term rentals are inhibiting year-round residents. We want a year-round population that is engaged, socioeconomically diverse, and icing on the cake would be that they have children and grandchildren that would attend our lovely elementary school. To address the correlation between short-term rentals and its influence on long-term year-round housing, we need more information. We thought it would be helpful to have a registry that all short-term rental property owners fill out, and that's the information we need to give us a snapshot of how our housing is being used. The registry turned into, in my view, an ordinance that lost sight of that goal. We heard from dozens of local residents who felt strongly opposed to this ordinance. There is some confusion around the interpretation and its impacts. The info night would attempt to address those details. As a member of the select board, it has been distressing to hear from folks who are worried about how this ordinance will affect them, their livelihoods, and their futures, and I can't stand behind it in this form.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I believe this draft should not move forward. It holds STRs to far stricter standards than other Georgetown housing stock and is therefore inequitable. Additional research is needed. Is there a problem? There should be records that would tell us if we're having problems with those things. That information has not been presented to us. I'd like to know more about the economic impacts the ordinance will have in Georgetown on STR owners, local service providers and property managers, and local restaurant stores and businesses. I'd like to know how many existing STRs are compatible with other uses, such as round-the-year rentals, and how many are not. Many of them are unwinterized or are too expensive for the long-term rental market. I'd like to know how high the demand is here in Georgetown for long-term rental. Those are questions that there should be answers for, but we didn't get them. I would like to see the planning board meet with Georgetown residents, also probably with members of other branches of government here, the Solid Waste Committee and the Appeals Board, to get their feel before they bring a ordinance proposal like this forward, because this was news to everybody, or to many people. Admittedly, people need to go to open meetings and keep on top of things, and I'm just really impressed with the turnout we've had tonight and a week ago. The community cares, and that's very clear. The planning board also cares, and
That's right.
they're doing, with this, they're doing what they think, I'm sure, is best for Georgetown, but there isn't supporting evidence.
All right, well, then it's time to take a vote. We've had a motion and a second. The discussion is closed. Any further discussion? I join in the thanks to the planning board and the significant time and efforts to them for this work. And all those in favor of the motion?
Just one for clarity too, by indefinitely, tabling indefinitely, this means it will not be coming up at town meeting this year. That's the intent of what the motion is?
Yes,
Okay.
I looked up the definition of tabling before I came because I wasn't sure.
Sure.
That's the
I just-
American definition.
I just wanted to make clear too to the folks watching that what this means outside of the legalese, because for what that's worth.
I mean, at some point, there may be another draft come forward, but I think that there's so much missing and also now so much anxiety and bad feeling over this one that I think this one should go away and if someone ever wants to start another one, that would be a good thing to do. So,
It does sound like, it would be important to have a working group on this, to have STR owners, people who have, essentially stakeholders along with the planning board, and like you said, other committee members who want to be engaged on this. We heard from Jim Coombs last week a little bit on that, who
Yes.
expressed that he learned a lot. We all learned a lot. I think the
solid waste-
community learned a lot.
The
that-
solid waste committee met last Thursday and spent a good portion of their meeting talking about implications for for the transfer station. And they are not 100% convinced where the additional volume is coming from. If those houses converted to long-term rentals or owner owned houses, would there be less, or is it, if, they don't have a record of that, they're thinking of doing something about it.
I will say that, I realize that this decision is going to upset some. It will also not upset some. It will be a disappointing outcome for those who maybe relied on us to follow up on what they thought was the data. But after last night or after last week, for my purposes, I don't see that it would be fair to anybody to take this on to the 28th. We thought that would be the night. I don't think it would be fair to put our code enforcement officer, our chair of our planning board, and another member of the planning board, Rufus Brown, in the position of having to answer all of those questions for a 3-hour period again. Everybody would show up, and that would be important. But we got a lot of feedback, and and again, it's hard not to see what all of that means when we received one email, I believe, one email in support and a few public comments.
I appreciate the people who have stood up. I appreciate the planning board for having stood up and respectfully defended what they presented. I also respect the many members of the community who've come forward. It takes a lot of courage.
It does take a lot of courage, and, we want to remain respectful in our interactions with each other. There are gonna be things that we just will not agree on.
Yeah.
And people are not going to be happy with the decisions that we make all the time. And from my perspective, we were elected to try to reach consensus on decisions that benefit the community. And right now, that the data was not there to say this should go forward this time, okay? So, any more discussion? Right. Okay,
Do we need to move to cancel the meeting on the 20th?
we'll take
Okay.
that later,
Okay.
yes, but thank you, keep that in mind, please, because we will need to do that. All right, well, it's time for a vote. All those in favor of the motion that Kathy made, which is to table this,
Indefinitely.
table it indefinitely, which essentially means we will not be adding it to this year's town warrant.
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure I got that.
And that is unanimous, 3-0.
All right, with that unusual start, we're ready for public comment. Let's take it from the room.
I'll go.
Mandy, hi, Mandy.
Andy, Winnie, it's great to see you all in person. I usually listen, or I always watch the select board meetings on YouTube. Because I love to keep my finger on the pulse. I see the value of a warm body in this room. And I do see you take into consideration the public. So thank you for being our civil servants. I do see this process. I want to just mirror that. I agree with having a registry and support of it, and I'd be in support of a working group that has a little bit more maybe short-term rental owners. And anecdotally, this is why I had the opportunity to sell the house that my husband and I built 3 years ago to move to a different home in town. And I received so many cash offers from out-of-state buyers, at least 4. They were cash offers. One's specifically wanted to turn our year-round residence to a short-term rental. Many of the other ones, I won't know for sure. But what I can see extrapolating from that is that when people put their homes up for market, I think we have no it's a very hospitable environment for an out-of-towner to put up a short-term rental and transition a year-round home into a short-term rental. So I'd love to see what legally we could do without discrimination to try to de-incentivize that.
Thank you, Mandy. Any other questions from town office crew? Comments? Yes, Chris?
I'd just like to thank you guys for, I know this was on a certain course and for being open-minded to listen to the town's input and, even if it does or does not agree with your own personal, view on this, but to take what the input you got from the town and act on that. I think that's commendable to all of you. So thank you for that.
Sure. Anybody else? Okay,
We do have one hand on Zoom.
yes, let's, Clara, go ahead, Claire.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I
Hi.
couldn't be there in person tonight. Thank you for being honest about not really being ready for a step like this and not having really what we need to look at a step like this. It's my understanding that the select board asked the planning board to take this on. So I'm wondering if maybe the planning board needs a little more direction from the select board on what you guys are looking for. I'd also love to help strategize some better communication options. The reason that I knew what was going on is because of Jim Peavy's email. I think a lot of us pay attention to his emails when they come across. So, but I'm wondering if when big things like this come up, we need some sort of a plan for a mailer. Maybe we need to invest in some sort of a town office news board for people to view when we're driving by. I'm not sure, but I'd love, I do not recall receiving a poll or survey, I should say, sorry.
That's okay.
So I don't know. I'm happy to try to strategize along with everyone on that. And I think one of the things I walked away from last meeting was just a feeling of being really proud of this town. And I think that one thing this did really well was showed a lot of us that we have a lot more in common than we might think. So I just wanted to thank everybody for the messages, the emails, the kind comments, the sharing of ideas, and then just to encourage everybody to stay paying attention, because I don't think that this is truly going away forever. So let's just be more present at meetings and help one another stay present. And we'll take next steps together.
Thank you, Claire. Anyone else on Zoom? Okay. Last call for public comment?
Well, can I just say, there are usually positions on the planning board, the financial advisory committee, other boards in town, and there are a lot of people with really good ideas in this room in the last couple of weeks.
You mean vacancies?
Yeah.
Yes, we are going to hammer that.
So if anybody would be willing to be an advocate, that we could, the town could use it.
Yes, more volunteers, please.
I had something.
Certainly, public comment still open.
Oh, great.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
And I appreciate all the hard work everybody's put in, and I appreciate that there are people who have organized before us, to bring this up so that we can all discuss it together. I know that it takes a lot of courage for both, I'm gonna say sides right now, for both sides of the spectrum to participate and to share. But what I think going forward is we do need to have more active participants, and I encourage everybody. I think this is a great time to get involved. It's Georgetown, Five Islands, where this is all home for us. We are all neighbors. And I would just like to say, I'd like to see that people dismiss saying there are sides. Let's, really be neighborly, and see everybody's point of view, but also take into account that the special things about this area that we want to preserve. And I appreciate all of you, especially sitting at the table saying, okay, we don't have enough information, let's take a step back. We all probably came at you at full force because we do value what we have here. We've worked so hard for it. And our futures, you know, I think when your future becomes something that can be dissolved very quickly, we do get passionate. But I do say, you know, this is a great learning experience for a lot of us. I see a lot of different generations here, and I think it's time. I would also like to say there's so many faces that, you know, just on behalf of my own feeling, that I don't know. And I would like to suggest, Tyler and is it Kathy?
Mhm.
We're kind of saying about different organizations and things that are available in town for positions and volunteers. I'm happy to join in, but I also think we need faces and names of who is what with what groups or organizations. I would like to propose that we have an informational page on the website that says names and maybe has a beautiful yeah, a beautiful portrait.
Yes.
And shall I say that I'd be happy to donate my time, because I just think a face with a name, so many of us go into these meetings and we're apprehensive, we don't know who might be speaking, and I think everything is friendlier when we have a face with a name. And it's approachable and we see each other around town. That's the fun about social media is we all see a picture, we all see the name, we know who we're talking to. I just met my neighbor here. What a great opportunity. So I would love to propose, you know, take a good step in the direction of, okay, let's get active, let's get volunteering, let's figure out what groups need more volunteers, and let's put faces with names. And I'm very happy to help in any way, and I appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. Yes,
Just a suggestion, this was to find out who's got the short-term rentals and whatnot. Do a survey just to get that information. And once you have that information, you can start talking about how to do it. But if you start having regulations on it, instead of having looking for the data, I think that's putting the cart before the horse.
we did get your letter today. Thank you. Bob.
Two things real quick. First off is Clara Evans' comment that she does not recall getting a survey. The survey went out to every property owner in Georgetown. It was generated, the address list was generated by using the tax records. And it was done by the town office, so I have confidence that everybody that was a property owner received the survey. And your comment about who are the short-term rental owners, that was a question on the survey. We asked, you know, if you were a short-term rental owner, you know, did you have one short-term rental, did you have two short, et cetera. So that question has been asked and somewhat answered, depending upon how much information people were willing to give.
Okay. Yes.
You're back.
Okay, yes. Okay, Jen Dobransky.
Yeah, I just want to say that, and I'm making this comment because there's some misinformation in the chat, and so I know you're not intending to address that, but as a elected member of a board, I just want to speak to what's in the chat. There's a comment about conflict of interest on the board, and the conflict of interest is the rules with that. And the laws with that is really clear. It has to be a financial conflict of interest, and the board member has to own at least 10% in the business or entity, and that is not the case here. So I just want to clarify that there's not an issue that I can see. There's no conflict here with members of the board. Thank you.
Jason, did you have a comment? Or are you just on video? Nope. He's good. Okay, thank you, Jason. All right, before we close public comment, I'll take one more run at the groups. Yes,
Can I
Mandy.
do a double hitter?
Yes?
Alright, I wanna, just remind everybody that all the minutes for all the meetings are publicly available. They hit the website, they're available at the town office. I've been following the short-term rental since its inception for years. It's been building, so I wanna just reiterate as a public member is that none of this has been done quickly or behind closed doors. All this information has been available. I can track it with a crazy life. Anybody can track this. So I want to just reiterate that it's been very public and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Mandy.
And I would just add on to that, anybody who wants to watch one of these meetings at their leisure cannot attend, barring any tech issues. We get the recordings of our YouTubes online a lot quicker than the minutes. Minutes have to be voted on and approved by a select board, so there is a little bit of lag time. But typically within 2 or 3 days, again, barring a tech issue, we once lost power at an office and lost the recording. Things are out there so folks can access it in real time.
All right, yes, John.
To kind of second what Chris had said a bit ago, I really think that the majority of the people that were against the STR appreciate the board considering our opinions. And we do recognize the amount of hard work that went into it. And I also think that I don't believe any of us thought that anything was being pushed through in a hurry. It did seem like it was coming along, but until we saw the verbiage of it and how it was going to affect a lot of us, I don't think anybody got their hackles up to be that upset about it and how it could affect a lot of us financially.
Sure.
So we appreciate your humility and your ability to kind of switch it around and listen to the people that, you represent.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Okay, with that, public comment is closed. And are there any items to be added to the agenda? Go ahead, Tyler.
I would note that we did receive a citizen petition from Lisa Sabatine. The town clerk has verified that there are 84 valid signatures, and so tonight I'd ask that we add that under new business.
Sure.
And I'll be recommending at that stage to send it on to legal counsel.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. All right. And then we are going to now close this meeting briefly and recess it for the opening of a Board of Assessors meeting. We have at least one to take up immediately for the assessors meeting.
All right. So we did receive prior to April 1, a veterans exemption after our March 24th meeting. It was not going to be added to the meeting on the 8th because of the narrow items. In favor of a veterans exemption, Jennifer K. Stanley did meet the threshold. And so tonight I just ask that the Board of Assessors, who also is the Board of Selectmen, separate roles, make a motion and approve that the veterans exemption for Jennifer K. Stanley stand, and that will go into effect on the next tax bill.
I would move that we vote to approve the veterans exemption for Ms. Stanley.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Thank you.
All right.
And that is all we had. I would note that Bill Van Tynen is trying to get to town either this week, not this week, next week, or the week after, depending on schedule and weather to get down and tackle the pending abatements. Also with us in the past April 1 now, we're in the pickup period where Bill Van Tynen's crew will be in town checking out permits, where folks stand on new decks, docks, etc. And that'll be Pat Dow. So I just advise the board, if you get a phone call that a gentleman showed up at my house and said he's the assessor, odds are it's probably the assessor.
All right, thank you. All right, and with that, we are going to close the assessors meeting and return to our select board meeting and welcome the FAC and our finance director, Mary McDonald, to the initial draft budget presentation.
Who'd like to come on up, Bob? There used to be a seat there. You're gonna bring your own.
Sorry about
All right. Excuse me. I need some water.
No, good.
And just so for everybody's information, this is we're talking about the draft budget. Obviously, this will be the budget and I'll make a plug. Andy's gone, but Tiffany said it, Mandy said it, Claire has said it. I'm sure others have too. You know, please do become as engaged as you can be, and please do join us on June 13th for town meeting. It's important that everybody is here to vote on these budgets. We are this is the time that we are having the initial discussions, and we'll be voting on these budgets later on, for the most part.
And in addition, the hearings that come before
Right.
the town meeting.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And if
May 14 is the budget hearing.
if people want to look at this draft budget, they would find it.
So as of today, if you want to follow along on the website under upcoming town office, upcoming meetings, there's a tab marked upcoming select board meeting. The packet included the budget. Following select board deliberations, we'll be getting a copy of this up on the website ahead of those hearings as well. So in the meantime, it's on there in the packet section of the website. Will appear on the town meeting info tab once it's a little more ready for prime time.
Okay.
You wanna lead? You want me to lead?
Doesn't make any difference to me, to kick it off, the total town budget. The number of requests that have come in. Last year, the current fiscal year, the town budget was approved was $6,603,279. The proposed budget at this standpoint is $7,062,121. That's a difference of $458,842 in 1 year. Now, having said that, we have two budgets that have not yet been finalized. First one is the Saginaw County tax. We right now have a budget number, which is not finalized, of $1,648,148. The other one, which has not been finalized, is schools. Last year was $2,782,586. This year it's $2,980,617. For the county tax, that's a change of $202,404. For the school, right now, it's proposed change of $198,031.
So Bob, if I can just interrupt there on the county budget, we are done with all of the meetings as far as I know. So we just had our last meeting. The good news is, it looks like instead of the 10.5% that this was coming in at, that I told y'all about at the last FAC meeting,
Yeah.
it looks like it's gonna come in at 9. So it's down more than, however, you knew there was a punchline, the commissioners have not voted. So just like you and the rest of the FAC advise and provide recommendations to those, to us on the select board, for those of y'all tuning in, the Budget Advisory Committee at the Saginaw County level, in which I represent District 3, which includes Georgetown, we've recommended a 9.9% increase. It may go up to the 14% that you've got in the placeholder, but let's hope it doesn't go up beyond about 10%, which is where we are. So to be continued.
When are they gonna vote?
The commissioners will vote in May, so we still have the public hearings and those kinds of things.
So we won't know if when we have our budget hearings, we still won't know.
We should know, but stay tuned.
Yeah, we've actually gone to town meeting before without knowing what the
Right.
it's gonna be.
So,
It's a legal obligation of the town, regardless of,
right,
must be.
Unfortunately, we have no control over the
We
county
don't.
budget as to when we get the final results on that.
right, that's right. So I will keep y'all apprised, but
Yeah.
that's some initial good news. We don't know if it'll stay.
right now, in its current version, the total budget, including all of that stuff, has an increase of 6.9%. And when you're talking, $7 million, that $6-7 million, that's a sizable chunk of money. Now, I'm not sure how you would like to go through this.
Well, let's start,
The select board has sat in on a lot of our meetings and is pretty much current on it. I don't know if you want to go through the budget page by page, or if you had questions on the specific items that are there.
Yeah.
And go from there. Whichever way you would like to go.
do you want to talk about expected revenue sources first? Do y'all want to talk about that first? Just I'm looking at you two. Is that-
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, just page by page.
Yeah, I just like to get the highlights of the revenue sources. If there's any changes that you're expecting, any good news, any bad news that,
Well, this, currently, we're looking at a $49,000 increase from last year to this year. But we haven't taken into account, I fully expect at the school committee meeting,
yes,
at school, when the school committee meets, they will be taking something from their fund balance,
right,
which will appear on this expected revenue sheet.
right.
Okay, so right now, I mean, I continue to refine this, I'm gonna refine this on, pretty much right up until the day we
Right.
post the warrant, I mean,
Right.
post
Right.
the budget. We bumped up some auto excise tax just because of the trends. But those trends are gonna fall off. That's the problem, I have bumped up bank interest. We don't have any grant funding this year. So we don't have a fire department grant, we don't have any roads
Right.
grants, anything like that. So, on one level it's down, but on the other, we've made up for it elsewise. The health insurance last year, we took $10,000, or actually this fiscal year that we're in right now, we were taking $10,000 from the reserve fund for health insurance. I don't believe our numbers are gonna be there, so we have not requested, we've not put this in the projection. We're taking a couple items out of reserve funds. For the repair and maintenance of the light, stuff like that. But, vacations that carry forward is down a little bit. That's the assumption that some people are gonna use some time before the end of the year.
I hope they do.
And if that doesn't happen, that fund is just,
Right.
gonna sit there. That's what we owe to everybody at the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
So no, I mean, I'm not seeing anything huge. I mean, let's face it, our biggest tax base is property taxes,
Right,
closely followed by auto excise tax,
right.
right?
It's good for
So,
people, it's good for people to know that.
absolutely.
Those are two major revenue streams.
yeah, and again, these sheets are always available to anybody that wants to see them. As you know, I produce financial statements on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then all this data is there.
Right.
So by all, like I said, I will refine this again. But town municipal budget revenues are up, from 566,000 last year to 627 this year. So, and again, that's us doing some more out of excise, a little bit more in, bank interest, things like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
again, I'll continue to look at this again, before we actually finalize the budget, so.
okay. And so Bob or Mary, well, are there any questions so far on that? Katie and Kathy?
No.
Okay. Do we have any questions, or Bob and Mary, do you want to, let's go down to the town office salaries. We've talked, and for those of you who've been tuning in, we've talked about what the COLA would be this year, which is 3% for all salaried employees.
Correct.
We've talked about the long overdue need for people to be able to have their evaluations, their reviews with the personnel committee. And so in that line, we've added that merit increase line.
Yep.
For those who potentially may earn a merit increase. What else would you, either one of you, Bob or Mary, like to say about the town office budget that you think is important for us to
The town office
keep in
salaries.
mind? Town office salaries, yeah.
I don't have anything on this.
Okay,
other than, no, I really don't have anything to say. I think putting the merit increase line in the budget is okay.
Mhm.
I'd like to see that fall off.
Yeah.
Once we've done everything,
yeah, for sure.
but I think it's a fine idea. It
And then-
needs to be done. We know it needs to be done.
Well, and it's about retention. We don't want to lose any of our hardworking team here at town office,
Yeah.
on the fire department,
Right.
anywhere else that they are serving the town. And so,
We've
and
talked,
that's a potential. Go ahead.
we've talked about vesting in or having retirement plans for.
Yes, I'm researching that. I've gotten some information from Maine PERS, but that's for next fiscal year.
Okay.
So, but yes, I wrote it down too, Kathy, because
Mary, what math did you use to come up with the merit increase amount?
4%.
4%.
4% of total salary
4% of salaries on this sheet.
on this sheet
Yes.
only?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we also put a merit increase line
Mhm.
in the transfer station fund.
Mhm.
No, we did not on the fire department, and there's enough play there.
And I just flag while we're on this page, in previous years, we did not have an active deputy town clerk, deputy tax
Right.
collector in town. I will say last year, towards the end of the fiscal year, that was something that was added in and is carried forward into this budget. I can say as town administrator, residents are very happy to know that if they've made a plan to get to town office, that if somebody's sick, somebody's at training, that there's still a friendly face here at the office to keep the lights on, and that's a good thing in the right direction, so.
Sure. Okay, thank you. All right, if there's no,
I didn't have anything else on this sheet, Bob.
Nothing really, the COLA that was instituted was 3%. If our memory serves, the federal COLA is 2.7 something.
and the CPI
3.8.
3.1, so I think we landed on 3%.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right,
Um,
yeah, do we want to talk about, is there anything, we went over this in the last
I was gonna
FAC
say, yeah.
meeting, 2 meetings ago.
yeah,
Obviously, the computer software maintenance is an increase. We talked about that.
yes,
We need
Um,
those platforms updated
Right.
and ready to go for both your needs and also our assessor needs.
right. This, we bumped the computer software up because we're gonna be, we're gonna get a sketching program for Trio,
Right,
which will make it easier on everybody.
right.
But especially the assessor, who's gonna come in and put that stuff in for us. We've all, that's also includes our QuickBooks, that includes, our maintenance, just the maintenance for the current programs we have without adding anything is over 15,000.
Yes,
So then you've got my QuickBooks and you've got, these other platforms that we are required now
Right.
to have. So that's why we bumped that up significantly. I mean, it's,
and this is industry wide for those of you who are wondering about these high costs, it's everywhere. So it's all subscription billing. So
Yeah.
you might be paying a monthly user fee, which is why we're looking at $12,000, $15,000. And one of the things that we've talked about is with the upgrade in the computer software, that means our assessor is spending less time.
Right.
He's whoever whether it's Bill or the pickup
Right.
assessor, they're spending less time because the software allows them to be more efficient. And so we're gonna pay for it one way, either hourly
right.
or
And
we're
it
gonna make
also
it
makes
easier.
us more efficient here in the office
I
when
bet it does.
you have realtors calling, you have all kinds of people calling, and we hop up from our chair, run to the file cabinet to get the card, because you can scan it. You
Right.
can send it from Trio, but it doesn't have a picture, it doesn't have a sketch, and it doesn't have the details that people are looking for.
It's like a
So
library,
once-
card catalog.
Right,
Right.
So it will make us much more efficient as well.
Yes.
We'll be able to, blip those out easily without having to stop what we're doing.
I just want folks to see when you look at these budgets and you're like, why is it 38%? For some of it, it will be a one-time cost for those packages. Go ahead. Bill.
And I will say that on some of those larger software prices, there's good assessing needs.
Right.
On some of the smaller items, like a couple meetings ago, we rolled into the budget Splashtop as a software, which frankly,
$72?
$72, and I've been able to fix some tech issues from Harpswell while the town needs to get a meeting on. So
Right.
those things really, again, are helping professionalize us and move us in a good direction. And I just note with the assessing side of things, as we get to a point where Bill Van Tynen eventually decides to move on and have a well-deserved retirement,
Yes.
these are tools that the next assessor is gonna be used to having, and it would make us an outlier without having them.
It will also make us a competitive town to try to get a new assessor when the time comes.
That's right,
We don't want to be left behind.
that's right, and if you don't have the tools to make their job easier, you won't get them.
I think that's one of the most important things about updating
Yes.
software,
Me too.
Agreed.
get organized.
Bob, do you have anything on this budget that we haven't covered or that you'd like for us to know in particular?
Or did you say anything about office machine expenses?
I didn't,
No.
I didn't.
The office machine expenses have gone up 160%.
Yeah.
And one of the issues on that was the copying machine.
Right,
We have a copying machine what was that? It was on lease.
It was on a lease,
It was
and you
on
see
lease, and now we own it, and it's, instead of, buying a new machine.
Right.
We've signed up for a maintenance program, which will keep it running for 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And that's primarily the cost of the increase, but it's, in the long run, it's the cheapest thing to do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They're incredibly expensive.
In one line, just to flag, when we get to select board deliberations on the telephone, we have had some internal discussions at town office. Again, it's a very small line. We have a fax currently.
Right,
Email is something in this day and age that quite frankly, most folks can use in lieu of fax. So if we're looking at small economies, when we get to board deliberations, there are some creative options that are small, but small things add up. So,
okay. Well, we'll be looking for y'all's recommendations on.
Right.
We don't want to cut you so bare boned that you can't do your jobs.
right.
Because everybody here in this town relies on you to be able to do your jobs and feel good about the resources you have to do your job. Were you gonna say something, Bob?
No.
Okay. You're taking a pass, all right, let's keep moving. General government, there's a lot there. What are the highlights, Mary and Bob, that you'd like us to,
Workers' comp up,
yeah,
go figure.
yes,
Health insurance up, go figure.
yeah,
It's all insurance related.
yeah,
I mean, as you must have heard on the news, the numbers that are coming in from the insurance companies to the municipalities is absolutely
Yes.
crazy.
yes,
We've done our best again.
Yeah.
As you know, a budget is at this point in time, this is our best guess,
yeah, it's a projection.
it's a projection. We reduced the TAN, we'll reduce the interest on the TAN because we didn't need it this year. And since I'm now in the office, actually physically in the office, as opposed to being off-site, I can really keep a closer eye on money. So we just reduced that. Maine Municipal Association dues is going up, continues to go up. We put it through, we put it through at the same as last year, but last year was a little higher than usual. Property assessing.
Yeah, we have to go up.
Reassessing.
Property assessing
Mhm.
is your Bill Van Tynen to come down. Realize that when anybody files an abatement, Bill Van Tynen comes down and handles those for you. Okay, so this year you are currently well over budget
We have
on
had
that
a
line
lot,
item.
and we've had a
Absolutely.
lot of abatement requests.
Right, so we have bumped that up for that. You'll see down below, where the 400% one is for the property assessing reserve.
The reassessing.
Property
That
abatement?
abatement?
No, this is your reserve
Yeah.
fund. We currently have 117,000 in that reserve. I think Phippsburg just went out a little over 400,000
Yeah,
to do a full town-wide
I know.
revamp.
Yeah.
So,
At some point in the near future, we're gonna have to do a full-on
absolutely,
I know,
no question.
reassessment, not a paper reassessment,
I know, and that is
Yeah.
going to,
as
And-
required by state rule and regulation.
and it's going to be costly.
Yeah.
It is going to be
Right,
costly, so the town should know that.
And that's why we're trying to build the funds in there.
So what do we have currently?
117 is what I think you said?
117,500.
And it's just worth noting, the last door-to-door reval in Georgetown was 2003.
Right.
I was in the 5th grade. In 2009, I was in high school when we did the statistical update because of the market crash. And then from 2009 until our last statistical update, those values stayed. And so Georgetown is well due for a reassessment. But it's one of those things that we need the money to be able to get it done without having a huge hit directly to taxpayers. So I would
With the
say,
borrow.
so I would say this 25,000 is a lesser number than I as administrator would have liked to see to get us in that timeline, but I also recognize in this budget year that it's tight.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you look down, I mean, if you look down through of them, you know, 7.7 is $250. So it's hard to look at the percentages and say, oh, you know,
right.
but you know, the town audit expenses up, that, I think that quote came in at little over 20,000, so I bumped it up a little bit in case we have any questions, things like that that require the auditors to, you know, be on the phone. Town council, we left the same because we haven't utilized that much of it this year. Select board contingency, we did bump up by $5,000 just to protect ourselves. Social security is up just, you know, based on wages. So no, I mean, there's really not, you know, I'm not seeing a whole lot that's, Conservation Commission's down, they flow to this budget, but they've got their own sheet. Same thing with town office. We do have capital expenses in here
Right,
on this budget, you know, in the general government budget. 10,005, all of that.
is that high enough, you think? For
Well,
the reserve?
we put
When we're-
$6,000 to the lighting.
Yeah.
No, this is taking from.
Right, yeah,
capital.
yeah.
Right. So we've got 6,000 in budget
Right.
for lighting, which we'd always talked about taking from that,
Right,
repair and maintenance reserve anyway. 3,000 for the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then 1,500 for computer and printers.
Yeah.
So if you went to the next sheet, you'll see that the 1,500 comes from the office equipment reserve,
yeah.
the 9,000 from the maintenance reserve.
Yeah,
Okay?
What's happening
So-
in the bathroom?
What is it, Kathy? Oh, God. I'm sorry. It needs some updating. Big
Yeah.
time. Yeah, been here longer than I have. What's that?
Gonna put sauna in it.
Yeah, yeah.
To be
yeah.
abundantly clear to anyone listening on YouTube, that was a joke. There will not be a sauna at town office.
Right, yeah.
I don't think Bob Cherbono would ever let us on any part of the Reno.
Yeah, so,
You know,
So, yeah.
it's always a balance in funding your reserve accounts high enough so that you don't get sucker punched
Right.
later on.
yeah, yeah.
But in trying to be fiscally responsible while doing that. And so, you know, you're gonna hear us talk about that. We had a major repair to this building, to the electrical to this building.
Right,
You know, the lights, as Mary keeps referring to,
Yeah.
and Tyler, these could go anytime now, so we're gonna do that hopefully tonight. But anyway, what were you gonna say, Bob?
Being as how you brought that up, with unknowns and whatnot.
Yeah,
One of the things that are included in this budget are increases in utilities.
Yeah.
And we've done, I think, a very responsible job of estimating what they're gonna be.
Yeah.
But given the events of the last month and a half to 2 months, it's anybody's guess, and we may have issues with that. We, you know, if things continue even for the next month
right,
before the town meeting, we may wanna reevaluate some of that stuff as
Mhm.
far as the cost of fuel.
right,
Whether it's gas for mileage for, you know, people, you know, have that in their budgets, or if it's just keeping the lights on, and keeping the heat going this
Right.
winter, this coming winter.
right.
yeah,
That's true.
so,
That's true.
um,
No, it's a good point. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
All right.
and then the planning board budgets remain the same, board of appeals budgets remain the same. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not true. We had put in $1,000 for that contingency for the planning board to do their mailer and stuff, that's dropped off this year, so. So that budget has actually dropped. Conservation is down.
Yep.
And that's mostly due to surveying, for the trail surveying.
Right,
However, they do wanna put, money in a reserve fund anyway, for future, you know, for $1,000 for future, so. So I don't think there's anything, you know, shocking on that budget at all. Bob, let me know if you see anything that I'm missing.
Nope.
TRPMB looks in order.
Yeah, 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 a little bit of an increase there.
Right.
But almost all of that increase has to do with, a new line item that the Town and Property Management Board, has inserted into their budget. They would like to establish a reserve fund for the Old Stone Schoolhouse.
Yes. Using the
To hand-
Triumph funds, right?
Using the money that they received from the Triumph ad that took place down at, the dock, the motorcycle ad.
Mhm.
The town received 5,000, or the town, TOPMB, received $5,000. For that, commercial, so they would like to utilize that $5,000 and move it to a reserve fund. To handle the repairs and maintenance and things like that on the Stone Schoolhouse.
I would love to know how they decided on Five Islands, and does anybody else wanna show up and do a commercial and
Yeah,
give us some money for that?
yeah,
Okay.
And to your point about reserve funds, just with TOPMB, I'd just flag again the importance, you know, when we had those January storms 2 years ago.
Yes,
We would not have been able to get things back up and running as quickly as we did, and for some, it still wasn't quick enough without having reserve funds ready.
it's always a hard discussion, but all you need is a crisis like a storm, to do that. So, to make it a little bit more understandable.
Yeah.
Okay,
so. Animal control.
we still, just
Really?
for everybody's notice, we still share an ACO with Bath, correct?
Seems to be working out.
Yes, we've posted the position
Mhm.
here in town, but,
But we aren't
For
done.
over a year
right,
or more,
right?
just for the record.
But we did hear tonight, a lot of folks wanna step up and help the town, and an animal control
Well,
officer
looking at
would be a great way.
It's already volunteered.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes, okay,
so we did increase, for the animal shelter,
right,
which is our contract with
Yes.
Coastal Humane. Yeah,
so that went up a little bit.
yeah.
Code enforcement, let's talk about that and just go through that. Obviously, that's a salaried position in town, you know, so.
Yes.
We have a particular salary line. We have a fair amount of hourly employees, but we also have, obviously a crew of salaried folks, and Mike is one of them.
Right. This budget's flat, other than the fact that, a 3% increase,
Right.
okay?
And that is COLA, that's what Mary's talking about, the
Yeah.
cost of living adjustment, which Bob just reminded us could be really wacky after 2 months
Right.
or so. We might need to
Yeah.
just consider that.
We did drop his supplies down a little bit because he doesn't need anything, and again, we share him with Woolwich and Aroustic. And Woolwich takes care of his bills and bills us on a quarterly basis,
Okay,
for everything but his salary. We pay his salary on a month,
Okay.
every.
okay. I
There you
wondered
go.
if there was some indirect, the
Yes.
indirect charge from, okay,
Yep,
got
so
it.
they take care of his cell phone and then
Yeah.
they bill it to us.
Yeah,
Any
okay,
other supplies that he needs, they disperse it out to the
okay,
3 towns. And anything else on this budget is a wash. We received the monies, the revenues in for, your, plumbing permits, that goes right out to the state of Maine. We received 75% of it here, but the other part goes out to the state. Every septic system there's a $15, surcharge fee now on top of the regular permit fee that goes to DEP. So those are, those revenues are in and out. Okay. Well,
Bob, jump in here, Kathy,
yeah, everybody
Katie, jump in.
you-
We wanna talk about the fire department now, or is that ready to go?
That's it.
Yeah, Terry,
Like I can talk about all.
sure, yeah, I figured, Yeah. yep, definitely,
And Bob, could you slide a little so Terry's at the table, just so folks online can see Terry?
There are 3 lines that are, push John down.
Good one.
There are 3 lines that are in question here, and that's the difference between, the proposed budget, 26-27 and the FHC recommendation. The first one is payroll for fire and EMS admin maintenance. Currently, in this fiscal year, there are 2 days, of admin maintenance that are paid for. It's about $15,000 a day per year. Let's use that number. $15,000 of that $29,120 in this current budget is paid for by the town. The other half is paid for by a grant. Okay? So that's currently 2 days are included. The fire department's proposed going to 3 days. Unfortunately, we do not have the grant for next year, which would mean that the town would be responsible for the entire $45,000, $45,864. In other words, we'd be going from paying for 1 day to 3 days. I think Mary will agree with me on this. We both feel that's a little excessive. We do not mind the town. We find it's reasonable for the town to go from 1 day to 2 days having to pay for. We see the need at the fire department for that. We do not see a 3rd day being necessary at this point. Feel free to add, Mary.
No, I'm right with you. Yep.
The second,
So what's in the FAC recommendation column is
2 days.
2 days at your 3%,
With no grant.
okay, with no grant,
Yes.
okay?
The other 2 lines are in question, the payroll for firefighters and ambulance calls and the payroll for training. The fire department's proposed a fairly large increase over the 3% cost of living increase put forward by the select board. Part of the history here is that 3 years ago, the salaries of the fire department were determined, or the hourly rates at the fire department were determined by using the minimum wage with add-ons for becoming a firefighter 1, firefighter 2, etc. Chief, associate chief, etc. EMT, basically everyone had certain bumps. There was a whole schedule. The fire department came to, at that point, it was Mary and I, and said, we really need to increase our salaries to make them competitive with other jurisdictions in the area. And we agreed with that. They were at that point proposing going from minimum wage as a base to somewhere around $21 an hour.
Yeah, two years ago, we went to 18,
Okay,
and this year we went to 20.
Mary and I at that point felt a jump from minimum wage to 21 was too excessive. It was quite a number. So what we agreed to is that we would separate this increase over 2 years. And over the last 2 years, they have received that increase going from minimum wage to a base of $21 an hour. I think it's 21.
I think it's 20, isn't it?
20
20 base.
$20 an hour.
Plus the add-on.
plus steps.
Plus the
Yeah.
steps.
Plus steps, yes, plus steps. With that, having given quite large increases, like in the 40% range, I believe, over the last 2 years, we think, at least I feel personally on the FAC, I believe Mary backs me up, that 3% would be reasonable this year. Being that they've done 2 large year increases in next year's. Next year's another year to consider. We can look at other jurisdictions, but we kind of feel a year being more reasonable is necessary for the budget. That is where the FAC recommendations coming through from the 36,050
Right.
and the 12,675.
So what it amounts to is that I had brought those to the board.
Right.
We looked at that and we said for the extra 40 cents an hour, we're gonna bump this to 5. So that's what's reflected here.
Right,
It's just the difference between the 36,750 and the
right,
36,050 is the 2%.
right.
Okay, the board feel that this FAC is
Right.
going with the 3%, which is, but we put in the 5.
Yeah, well, I think we already voted on that.
You did on that section.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
When we
yes.
did we did this COLA at
Yep.
3%, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 meetings ago.
Yep.
And we certainly appreciate all of the background on that. I
Yeah.
think we just came down on,
Sorry, I missed the meeting.
that's
No,
okay.
that's okay.
No, that's okay.
I
That's,
missed the meeting.
no, that you don't. And I just, just to close the loop on that, if folks were wondering what the difference is, we did take a vote on that because from our perspective, the volunteer firefighters who are essentially engaging in hazardous and a hazardous service for us deserve that extra 40 cents
Right.
to bring them up to $21.
Right.
And we're comfortable with that. We will find other ways to make that up in the budget. But for the firefighters, we just felt it was important to recognize their efforts.
I would like to
Yeah,
point
go
out
ahead.
one thing. We do not have a volunteer fire department, right?
I know it's called, I know that, but that's its name, and so I keep, you know,
It's right there. Volunteer fire.
I'm looking right at it.
I know, so I tried to get it changed.
That's the name of it.
So can I ask a question? This does not reflect possibly the third party pay on the ambulance service?
It doesn't, so it's a great question. So if we move
Sorry,
to,
Ed.
so if we move to insurance billing,
Not reflected in this.
it's not reflected because we can't yet.
Okay,
But that's a great plug for the informational meeting. That's gonna be Thursday night.
Yep.
And then, they've already had, you know, some initial discussions. And we've had 2 presentations at least on that. One a few years ago, one more recently, and then Chief Whalen and Gert Walter will, along with whomever else from the fire department, will give us that information,
would
but
this have to be adjusted before town meeting if it goes, it would go, how will it go forward? It'll be voted on at town
it
meeting.
would be, if it goes, if it, just like the STR process, just like any other change in town, major change in town, it will have, you know, the process that we've just witnessed in some of these other working waterfront,
Right.
STR, EMS billing, citizens initiative, all of those are gonna be as much information out there for the crew, but I don't necessarily believe, I don't know what you folks think, that is gonna happen in this, for this fiscal year budget. That we're gonna be able to get this information. Tyler's tried, Brian's tried. I don't, in other words, I don't think this is all gonna pull together in order to
We don't need to worry
update the
about it
budget, but I could be wrong.
But we also have some lines about
No.
unexpected revenues as well, where that would come in. And then next year would have its own line
Right.
if things got off the runway,
Right.
and there are a couple of steps between it. There's-
Right.
There's a lot of growing pains with that.
That, so I just wanted to manage expectations. I don't think so, but I haven't been in the loop on that as much as Katie has and those of you.
I think the informational night will give us a lot of, we'll be able to feel the room.
Right.
Be able to see where
Yeah.
people are at and Chief Whalen has been the one that's been getting all the information
Right.
and he
Right.
has that and he will share.
Yeah.
I know he has reached out to 3 third-party billing
Okay,
services and they've gotten back to him.
Yeah.
great. I know
No,
Tyler.
haven't
wait,
heard
the other day,
details,
right, I
so-
haven't had, I don't have
Yeah.
any details.
Yeah.
There's actually a fourth one now too, I found out
good.
Oh,
today.
great, okay. So that's it, and you know, for those of y'all seeing the bulletin board, it says billing for ambulance, but what that is meant to say is insurance billing for ambulance.
Right.
Turn his microphone off,
Okay. Great,
Oh.
just in case.
okay. Okay, yeah, I always have to worry about dogs. All right, anything else we need to,
They
how
bumped
about
up-
with the fire department, not the volunteer fire?
They did bump up their reserve.
Right.
For the vehicles up by 15,000 on, you know, for the ambulance reserve, that will take that reserve, currently that reserve sits at 227,000. So, you know, if that's up, that's 300,000. Mind you, that's less than half of what we're gonna need when it goes down to budget, you know,
Right.
but
Right. That's all happening.
everything we can do to reduce it is, you know. best-
Yeah.
450,000.
So I tell you at the, yeah, at the county level, at the county budget committee meetings, we're talking about all of these service vehicles for the sheriff's department.
Oh, yeah.
And for emergency management, for
Oh, yeah.
Phil's crew. So, and as we know, these are all expensive vehicles.
Nuts, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay,
There was talk about a remount. I don't know where that's going.
I
Oh,
brought that up with
Or
Brian.
remount.
He was looking into it. His first reaction was the savings weren't as significant as he was thinking, and it might lead to more problems than it solved. But he was gonna look at it.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
That
They
was
were a little
back in
nervous
March.
about that because
Yeah.
of, you know, the
Some
electrical and, you know, all
Yeah.
that stuff, once you, yeah.
Sure.
cars aren't like they used to be where you could just fix them.
Right,
all the
the wood,
electric-
not- yeah,
Take the ambulance off
the body.
body, plop it on a new one.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
seems tricky.
Yeah.
That made
Yeah.
it seem easy, but.
It is tricky and, you know, there are some, issues with the body that we have now. And why take those issues and put them on a new frame?
Mhm.
And then you're still living with all the issues, you know, the body issues that you were dealing with before.
Sure, if it was a lot cheaper, but it sounds like it wouldn't be.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my mind. We do not know yet.
That plus state requirements change. We just had to put two, for lack of a better term, space in
Oh, right,
Right,
the ambulance, one for each ambulance and one for the storage area at the station.
Mhm.
And it costs us, I was
$9,000?
Brian, $1,000 a piece.
for installation.
Get them installed.
right,
That's after you bought them, get
Yeah.
them installed in the
Yeah.
ambulance.
I know,
Yeah.
Yeah, we approved
We were
15,000 just for the vault.
Yeah,
yeah,
But I think that included the install.
yeah. Right,
Greenwood just installed for grand a piece. So, and then we've still gotta figure out installing the one that's here.
all right, any more on the,
that one we should be able to, hopefully, we'll do it in a house.
Do it ourselves, whether, you know, it has to be to the floor or to the wall, you know, yeah.
any more on the fire department? Do we have any questions, any highlights we wanna cover? Thanking the fire department once again for their service to our town. Okay, Harbor Committee. Everything looks in order here. Obviously, they need a new engine.
Yeah,
They're getting it.
that's
They're gonna get it.
taken care of in this fiscal year. They're looking at, there's some, you know, these increases look huge, but they're really not. You know, like 400% is $400 for their postage line, you know, but it's, you know, so they are looking at, you know, taking care of the boat.
Right,
So their repair maintenance lines up a little bit. Nothing on, well, actually training. He's also got two deputies now. So
Right.
he's got Mike Farina and he's got Frank.
right.
And I think that is their intent to get out on the water more this year. Do all of that GPSing that we've been trying to do for a long time.
Yes,
The morning? That the goal?
GPSing the
Yes.
mornings.
Guessing the mornings,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
yes.
You know, so that they can identify where it should be. They pulled in the winter, they got, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so. And that also helps with disputes between owners and,
Who's it?
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so the deputy harbor master wages are up a bit, and that was really more time than anything else. You guys had bumped those hours up to, or that wage to $25 an hour, so this is more time than wage. And then that's really about it, an extra $500, and they've also reestablished their reserve fund. Because they're virtually utilizing the entire thing.
To
Just
replace
to
the
replace
engine.
the engine.
That
which
was
is at
30 years
Meadows
old.
right,
Yeah.
right now.
On that, on Warren.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
And one thing just to flag where we talk about expected revenues, as the board's aware, but just to remind anyone who's listening in as well. The select board will set all fees on the fee schedule following town meeting. And so typically we reach out to the boards and committees and ask if they have any recommendations. Shellfish already has some, but that's something that is set after town meeting.
Right,
Okay.
okay, right.
And then it's Shellfish next.
It's Shellfish next, and you know, probably the biggest, one of the big changes there is they're gonna do seating, which is good.
right. They've asked for a significant increase for seating this year. They've asked for, so their materials line is up. And I think that that's because they wanna put some signage, some proper signage to
Yeah.
let people know. You know, pay attention to your animals, you know, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And just to underscore Mary's comment there is because, we are trying to avoid having those, after the rain, the flats closed.
Right.
Because of the testing that has been done, Marissa's
Right.
updated folks at the Shellfish meetings about that, you probably are learning about that now, so.
Yeah.
It's important for us to be able to try to prevent that when we can.
For the past 2 years, the Shellfish Conservation Commission has been soliciting donations to do seeding.
Right.
And they decided that after 2 years, they'd gotten some comments this time. So they put it back, they moved it back into the budget, and the plan right now is they're not gonna solicit next
Yeah.
year. Just so that people don't feel that it's an annual thing.
Yeah, so anyway, so they've gone from a $2,000 line item there to a $5,000 line item. So that is a significant increase for them. They will utilize all funds that they currently have. Other than they also have an Island Institute grant from the storm damage. That was to fix,
An access point.
access point. They won't utilize that, but they'll utilize any of those funds, that have been raised first before they utilize them.
Yes. Okay, and we still have, well, I won't even go into that because it's posted, nobody's.
We would love a deputy shellfish warden.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
That's the plug you were gonna do?
Yeah, but I just, I'm trying to keep staying on the budget.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
yeah.
stray.
Well, we thought John was bringing somebody in, but he never showed, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, solid waste. What do we?
Solid waste, Terry, you wanna take, you want me to take? Pretty,
pretty flat right now. I will say, I thoroughly agree with the merit increase line that Mary has proposed. I know she wrote a letter, which I fortunately never saw, but I know what was in it. I thoroughly support it 100%.
And again, just for everybody, we're not, this is a placeholder. What we're saying is every town employee needs to be evaluated. They need a chance to meet with their supervisor. For some of them, that is the select board. And to say what's working, what's not working, let us know, what's important about their job. And for us, if appropriate, to grant them a merit increase. And that's why we want to do that when it's warranted.
The one surprising number here is probably the hauling and tipping fee
Yeah.
remaining the same. Every year I do a pretty detailed analysis of all this, working with Mary and the general ledger. And for the needs of the transfer station, the quantities have actually been going down, which is surprising. And that's over the last, I think I've done it over 8 years. I looked at, once again, working with Mary's information. That once again, they're gonna be well under the number proposed from where we are right now and the current budgets in this fiscal year. And keeping that 119,000 should give us about probably close to 10% buffer in there.
Great.
I know there's always a fear that that number, if we go over, we'll end up with a special town meeting. But as long as I've been doing this budget the last 5 years, this has been pretty consistent, the numbers where they come in. And I feel the 119 is very adequate.
Okay. Yeah. They did increase again, these guys fully utilized their reserve fund.
Yeah.
So they bumped that allocation from 4 to 6. They will only have that 6,000, so they have no emergency funds at this point.
Right.
Other than their contingency.
Our idea was that we have a number around 30,000 we want to get to. That may change in later years, it may get pumped up. But the idea was over the next 4 or 5 years, we need to get back up to that number.
Yeah.
So considering we're at 0 right now.
Right, what was replaced?
The compact.
The compacted when they came to the board for a refurb.
Yeah.
Right, they
Right.
got a refurbished one from Recycling
Yeah.
Mechanicals out of New Hampshire.
Right.
Yes.
And that cost $26,250.
There's more than
So-
that reserve. It was pretty cheap.
Yeah, I thought it
Oh,
was,
yeah,
I thought it was a good
absolutely, no,
deal.
it's absolutely a good deal.
Yeah.
But it utilized pretty much their entire reserve,
But that's
so,
why they're there.
absolutely,
Yes.
no, we're
One
not
of
arguing.
the things that we need to take away from all of this discussion is the fact that, yes, you need to build a reserve fund. And maybe for a couple of years, you need to build it quickly to cover yourself. But after that, even if, once you achieve your goal, you need to continue to put some money into the reserve fund, because when we had the reserve fund for reassessment, this is going back several years now. We set the goal at like $115,000 or $120,000. We got there and we said, okay, so
Yeah,
we stopped putting stuff in there.
And now we're looking at it and say, holy cow, that's nowhere near enough.
Well, that's the problem. If we do it over the life of 10 years, it's gonna be irrelevant.
Yeah.
That number's gonna be wholly different.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to be
Absolutely.
Gotta
managing that.
continue to do
You know, look at projects, what are our 5-year goals, what are our 10-year goals?
Yeah.
And make sure we're on the mark.
One of the things in the FAC we've been pushing for, and I know Mary supported this heavily, is that what are the reserve funds for?
Right,
What is the
Exactly.
intention of them?
that's right.
Look at the definition. What are the definitions?
Yeah.
With
All
that reassessment, is that something that you can ask to have happen and it happens rather quickly, or is there like a 2-year delay?
The reeval, the reeval.
Sorry.
The revow,
Yeah,
it all depends on how many people hit the road running. You know, how many,
Okay.
how many, people they have on staff.
right.
Okay.
for
You
the
know,
assessment,
company.
Yeah,
A revow is, they will visit every property.
Sure.
They will go inside every property. They
Mhm.
will, measure, they'll do all of that work kind of over again,
yeah.
The other half of it is, there are getting to be fewer and fewer assessors.
That's
Right.
right. It's
Well- like
Herschel
accountants.
had a 3-year delay.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
the thing is you put it out to bid and then depending on which bid you take,
Right.
depending on who you get, if you get anyone, some towns have put
That's-
out and nobody's accepted them. I know one area town that put out a bid and then they rejected it, put it out a bid again, and only that same person went in with a little bit of a price hike.
Mhm.
And some towns have been able to get a little bit quicker, like Mary said, they were lucky, hit the ground running.
Right.
But you're looking at like a wait list of a year to 2 years as a good estimate,
Right, that's.
given what Harpswell went through.
Buys us a
And it
little
takes 2
time.
years to complete it on top of that.
Right.
Right, and then it takes a long
Sorry,
time.
I'm from West Bath, so we just went through that,
You did, okay.
and it's.
So if you
it's-
start going to school now, you can be an assessor in 2 years and make some money.
Or an accountant. The world needs accountants, Maine needs some accountants. But I digress. Yeah, okay. All right, we wanna go
Roads.
Roads.
yeah, that's always a larger budget.
John
Oh.
has really dropped the budget significantly this year.
Well, basically, all our roads
We
are
still-
in pretty good shape, and we've done the last 2 or 3 years. Remembering that 127 is not a town.
I know, 120,
Right,
we cannot say that enough.
Sentence I've heard.
Which I'm not sure if Tyler mentioned to you.
And he's not even here to enjoy this.
I know. We received a call, the state is supposed to be here on May 1st to pave 127.
The
Whoa.
whole thing on May 1st.
I'll believe that. one.
I was
I
just
know,
gonna
I know, but
say,
I'm just telling you, we're one of the first in line.
Yeah.
Because, they know how bad.
Are they
it
gonna
is.
put that much?
Oh, don't even go.
Yeah.
there.
Is there a number under on it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Faded black.
yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah, I'm
makes
not
sense.
sure if John's, that might be John on there.
I think it is.
But anyway,
Bottom line is, that budget has dropped 20%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
this budget, yeah.
So,
But he's planning on doing, in this fiscal year that we're in currently right now, he would like to complete North End Road.
yeah,
He's just waiting on Crooked for,
yeah,
we are a small guy to Crooked.
right.
In 26-27 in this budget that he's presenting here, he intends to do West Georgetown Road from Martown to the end. Being the end of, West Georgetown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's looking at doing a basin at the base of Robin Hood
Correct.
Hill, and then another basin by the marina, so.
What's a basin?
Catch basin.
Full base.
One, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
One other thing that has affected this budget pretty strongly, and it's really hard to get from the numbers, is there's a Flying Point Road Culvert Reserve,
I remember.
Mm.
which
Right.
we were gonna pay for half of it, and they, the Conservation Committee had funds to handle half of it.
Nature Conservancy.
Nature, thank
Yeah.
you, Nature Conservancy. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you.
sorry, right, Kel,
Yeah,
sorry,
Yes, yes, thank you.
I just knew it wasn't our conservation.
no, it was not.
In the
Yeah.
end,
One of them.
in the end, they're gonna be able to handle the cost of this, which is, I forgot the number, it was,
300 something,
yeah, 380.
there's something, yeah,
They got a
I
grant.
don't have it on this,
And what's gonna happen is we are covering the engineering fees,
correct,
which have pretty much been paid to date. We have put $10,000 in there.
Yeah.
to cover the any ongoing fees that may come up. So we're only responsible for the fees, not the capital improvement now, which is a huge savings in the budget.
And
Well-
huge shout out to Ruth Indrick for looking to secure additional funds, which at
Yes,
this
Ruth.
climate, we genuinely thought we will help, but we're probably not gonna get, and the fact that they got that funding was huge, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and even though these, you know, some people may have a little bit of sticker shock about some of these numbers, please hear us saying this budget's down, this budget's only up 5%, this on, you know, because we are seeing as we're going through these budgets that are going down, and this is a good example of them where they're remaining flat. And so I appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this process from the committees and the FAC.
Yeah, and you know, this budget it may not fly the way it is.
Right,
He may not be able to do everything he wants to do here
right,
because of the cost,
right.
you know?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, so, and this also builds, you know, $75,000 into that reserve fund again.
Mhm.
You know, so we're in good shape as far as that reserve. And as Terry said, ideally, this Line Point project is gonna be over in a couple of years with us only having to carry the engineering costs. So last year, we moved the money from the Robin Hood Road repair account into this Line Point at the tune of $160,000.
Yeah.
So if we only have to spend 25,000 of that or whatever for our things, ideally, we'll be able to pick those additional funds up. Not this coming year, but the next fiscal.
And what's exciting about that project, not to deviate a little bit, but it's in the budget, by getting a lot of grant money to help with this, we recognize that there aren't many people at that point on Flying Point. And so it's something where it has a good environmental reason to get it done. And I'm glad there's monies there that make it a little bit of an easier sell at town meeting for the skin in the game that we have.
And if the Stellar Sea Eagle comes back again, then there will be more folks going down flying.
That's right.
Well,
But they'll get stuck in the mud, so.
there was a GoFundMe account, wasn't there? There
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I think.
Do we have that?
13,000?
But let's not suggest he comes back. We want tourists, not him.
Right,
Thank you. I was gonna say something about that, but no, I better not.
yeah.
Couldn't help it.
Any
Yeah,
other
no,
questions, my
true.
brothers?
Yeah, like I could,
That was gonna be a Facebook
you.
April Fools and we thought too soon.
oh, yeah, exactly.
Snow removal is next. This is, part of our contract and, so that's up based on the contract. There is a
Yeah.
$5,000 fuel escalation clause in this, which may or may not need to be utilized.
Right, we talked about that and we agreed as a
Yep,
select
put it
board
back in.
to put it back
Yep.
in. And that was before.
Yeah, before this.
Before this all blew up, so
Yeah,
clearly we were
Yeah.
feeling something.
yeah,
Okay,
so. And next up is the health, recreation and social services.
Yeah.
And, so really, there were three places or three requests that came in that the FAC is either reducing or eliminating or not requesting funding. Bath Area Seniors Activity Center requested 800 and we, the FAC recommended 6.
Based on the numbers of people that use it and the services provided.
Yeah. We funded them 500 this year, so we put it down for 6 for next year. The Bath Area YMCA, although, the FAC recommended the full funding at 500, that is a new item for us. We have
it's a new
not.
request. Is that what you're saying? It's a new
It's a new
request?
request,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
We haven't funded Bath Area YMCA for quite some time
Yeah,
now.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only because they never asked. It wasn't that they didn't have the support, they have always had the support.
Right,
But they didn't ask.
Right.
So, I think they also had some personnel, you know,
Yes.
and then if it's, you know,
Mhm.
if you don't know enough to do it, you wouldn't do it.
And they greatly appreciated the town office connecting, saying, if you wanna get it, so we this year went out of our way to connect with the folks to say, this is the data we need. And the folks at the YMCA were really excited to be able to get us what we needed.
Life Flight of Maine, that is the air copter that comes down and grabs people should they need it. They've requested funding for a number of years.
Yeah,
We have never funded that. I think
The
in the,
reasoning
Yeah.
behind that is, I mean, they're a wonderful organization, don't get me wrong.
right.
I've been on the fire department for 20+ years. We have had life flight down here twice. And it doesn't make sense to me and to the rest of the FAC to fund that if we don't use it. Will it bite us in the butt one day? Possibly. But even if we don't contribute, they would not turn us down
Refuse.
because of that. That may change our thinking in the future.
Right.
Whether or not we want to do it, but
They also collect insurance.
yeah.
Yes.
I just wondered if you had checked with the, volunteer fire department, I'm sure you did, just in case that's something that you keep in your back pocket as an option.
We have, I didn't speak with them this year, but we have spoken in the past and they have not objected.
Thank you.
then the next one was, Sweetser. They had requested, they got no funding this year because again, their funding request did not make it in time. So,
But this year's just down.
they've
the
requested
recommendations-
1,300, we've gone with 1,200. So, so those are the differences between what the FAC has been, what has been requested by the committees or by the organizations and what the FAC has recommended.
Right, and just for those of y'all who are following along, and we appreciate you hanging in there with us. We're almost done on this budget, if you're wanting to know that, on this budget review. But there's probably, what is this, 12 different entities that have made requests of us, the
Yeah.
FAC's made recommendations. And then we'll take them up, when we review the budget as a select board, and then obviously it'll end up the whole thing on the warrant, so. But if you wanna see it, it'll be available on the town website.
And then patent free library, as you know, is a contract, that's
That's
up
right.
12%.
Yep.
From 24 to 27. General assistance line is flat. The community center line is flat. The recreation committee's gone from 6,050 to 6,450. Biggest, I think, piece of that,
Get to know your neighbor, I think.
is probably get to know your neighbor. No, actually, that's flat, so it's, 4th of July, they're putting an extra $50 in.
We'll cover that on the next
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And then Richard's library is also flat. So,
What does the general assistance cover?
general assistance covers those that cannot pay their bills. They would come
That's
in.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I will tell you that currently this year, we paid $1,975 in general assistance.
So that one year, what was
Okay.
it, last year we were up and we had to bump it up.
In 24, 25, we had a special town meeting
Right.
for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, because, we were in a,
But so it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
it does ebb and flow. The community center has an X fund.
Yeah.
And I will say that has been utilized much more. The state run program is very difficult to meet the criteria.
If you're a person seeking that assistance.
Correct.
Rent or fuel or whatever.
And for anything, I mean, you virtually can't make anything or you don't qualify on the income side. You know what I mean? So, and the expenditure, same thing, it's pretty much dirt.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So I send a lot of people to the community center. It's a lot easier for folks. So, I think that the community center spent out, I think 11,000 this year.
The community center is much, much more user friendly and attentive to the citizens of Georgetown.
And again, there's not,
Accessible.
and again, there's not some of that red tape where there's somebody who we can know has a need.
Mhm.
But on paper, for the state of Maine's reimbursement portion of all of that doesn't meet that need. And so that's why it's really awesome. We got a great team that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we do. We're lucky.
Anything in, moving on to the rec budget, the numbers are
Yeah,
all here. We've just gone over some of them.
yeah.
Fourth of July's 250, Get to Know Your Neighbors 3,000, Halloween's 250.
Yeah.
You know, my recollection of each of these year to year, you know, this budget often, they won't, you know, when you get to budget to actuals, the actuals aren't there.
Oh, no, not at
So,
all. Correct.
And so, Mary, if you'll remind everybody what happens when a committee doesn't spend their money.
Okay,
it goes-
so, for sure. When we put something into budget and it's not spent, it automatically at the end of June rolls to undesignated fund balance and therefore gets reallocated to the committees as we're doing now. So if you asked for $6,000 and you only spent 4 of it, that other 2 rolls to undesignated fund balance. The only exception to that is if there are laws regarding those funds. So, things like animal control and shellfish, those are state laws. If you take in more revenue than you have in expenditures, that money must be carried forward.
Right.
I will say, I've been doing this for a long time in this town, that is never, ever going to happen. Okay, we never take in more
Spoiler alert.
funds, right, I know, spoiler, it's not gonna happen. And then things like, you know, Georgetown Working League
Right,
gives the rec committee $1,000. And I've explained to them, I let them carry it forward once and once only. You spend this money or it's gone.
Right.
Same thing with their donations, like they get donations at the fall frolic, things like that. Those things will roll. Now, the money that they're soliciting for the seed clamps, that won't roll. Cause that is, you know, funds specifically for that item. So those will be carried forward, just like, you know. And then the cemetery committee also has a little fundraiser going. They haven't gotten much, but those monies will be carried forward. You know, as opposed to being swept to undesignated funds. When we sweep those monies to undesignated funds, they just kind of build a little bit. And when you commit taxes and have overlay, that's to build your undesignated funds so that you can utilize that to reduce taxes. If you look in this budget, we've bumped that allocation or the usage of fund balance from 200,000 to 250,000. I feel very strongly we have that money.
right.
I might even be convinced to go a little bit higher, but I'd really like to have a draft audit of 25 first, and I just don't have that yet.
Right.
They're telling me they'll get back to me by the end of the week. I'm not sure if that will happen. But I still don't have last year's audit, so I still don't have their true undesignated fund balance. I have my own,
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm usually not that far off. However,
Right.
I could be wrong, you never know. They
Right.
could say, Mary, you know, no, I'm taking that 95,000 out of this, or, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of cemetery, should we move on to that budget?
for sure. Yes. This budget, flags and plaques are down a little bit. We didn't have to do that much this year. It's really a pretty, you know, small budget. Monument repair is up by $1,000. We have a few stones. When we talk monument repair, we're really talking Oak Cemetery or Highland Cemetery.
Okay.
Mountainside at this point doesn't have anything that really needs to be repaired. These ones
That's helpful to know, thank you.
old stones, they're very, very delicate. And some, you know, and sometimes just winter will, you know, do something to them. So we've got some money in that to get some repairs done there. The burial ground, upkeep is an item that popped into your budget last year. There's a burial ground down here, as you all probably, most of us are aware of now, behind the Historical Society, that goes right to the edge of Robin Hood Cove. We need to look into that, so, and it's gonna require some upkeep. We did, bump the budget up this year for, mowing. Jordan Wilcoxon will not be mowing for us next year. They have awarded the contract to Charlie Usury. So that will be effective July 1. You guys actually, I think we've already signed the contract and
Yeah.
everything. And then the cemetery upkeep, they just dropped that because they had the trees taken care of, they had the road work done, so they felt they could do that. And then they also dropped the trees again, cause they've gotten a lot of that stuff done. A lot of stuff was done in Oak Cemetery. So they felt good about that. They never did complete their project with the stone wall around $5. I think that they may, and that's where that fundraiser that I was just mentioning,
Yes.
to carry forward. We may find that they may address that again, but right now they just don't have the funding for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so overall their budget's down 7%.
Yeah.
Their allocation, from their own trust fund, we take 2% of their fund. They have, so when the cemetery sells a lot, there's two pieces to it. There's the lot sale and then there's the marker sale. Okay, so you'll see on the financial statements a note for marker revenue. That is money, when we sell a lot now, we have the four corners. We have granite blocks with your last initial on it.
Yeah.
So that it can identify the lot, not only for you to identify it, but for everybody else to identify it as your lot.
Mhm.
And so there's two sections of, those are, that marker revenue is a wash. Everything that we get in for marker revenue, we pay out to Colette to make those and install them for us. So, but all of the sales of the lots go to their trust fund. And we only utilize a portion of that interest. Okay, so every year we take 2% of that fund and utilize that to reduce the allocation from property taxes. So next year, we're gonna be taking $1,756 from the fund. Okay, and we do that, that fund is up at Camden National. And at renewal time, I just do a wash between what we need to take and what they've received. Excuse me.
Why does it say audited under the trust fund balances? Who is it audited by the same people who come and audit?
Absolutely, yes. That means, that's part of something that.
And lastly, Matt,
Yeah,
Hannah,
and lastly is Matt Mahan,
So.
and that is private and special law, as you know. Oh, excuse me, to pay 20% of taxes collected from the properties on McMahon back to the inhabitants of McMahon. So that, as property tax went up a little bit last year, so did their allocation up by 5%. Okay? So with all of that in mind, we're now back to the face of it, right?
Right.
So it looks like your total town budget, as Bob said, is
Understanding.
up 458,000, and again, please realize these are fluid numbers.
Yeah,
No school, no county. And I'm still working on homestead exemption,
right. And
okay?
right, and so on the county, obviously, once I have that figure, I will give that to y'all. The school board is gonna meet, on the 23rd?
23rd, yeah,
And then they presumably will do their budget, that board will review with their finance director, presumably approve a budget and get it
right.
over to town meeting and, or for
Right.
everybody else
Right.
to look at.
So, what you
True,
currently have before you is a 6.9 increase in requests. And in total, a 5.5% increase in things to be raised by property taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, our revenue is up by about 50,000. I have bumped up undesignated fund balance, usage of that by 50,000. We have bumped up revenue sharing. Last year's revenue sharing at 39,000 that's in our current budget was very conservative. We were very concerned about the apparent fight between our governor and the president. We were concerned about whether or not Maine was going to get its funding. So many of us finance directors and treasurers only put about half of what we expected in the budget, and that's what we did. So, this year, we've gone to the website and we've taken it at face value and put it in at 89,000.
Yeah.
So,
And
okay, and that one that's highlighted is that the 36,601 that's highlighted, that's what we received from the state for homestead exemptions. Okay, but that on April, those applications have to be due by April 1.
right,
So then after April 1st, we go through and we say, okay, these people are no longer here, therefore don't qualify, and here's all the new guys. So, and then we just do a calculation. We just haven't completed that calculation yet. That's all. Okay,
Mary, that reserve, oh, so.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that reserve, remember, I'm just looking for the budget line here.
right,
On our reserve, our capital reserve that we usually just do about 10,000. Did we increase that like we
For-
talked about?
capital
For
reserve?
repairs, when we were,
repairs, maintenance?
yes, do we keep that? at
That's under
10?
general government.
Yeah, I'm just looking. one-
And, nope, those I
There it
think
is.
we. Hold on, no, we did not fund the office equipment reserve fund at all. And we funded the repairs and maintenance account at $1,000. So we are expecting to take, that, $9,000 from that fund,
Yeah,
which will leave that with a $10,000 balance after that.
okay.
Okay, so you may wanna consider bumping that up more or not.
Maybe.
And then, and the office, you know, the 500 or the $1,500 is coming from office equipment. And that will leave a balance in that account of a little over 10,000 as well.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more concerned about building repairs and
Yep.
making sure that that's covered.
Yep.
So, but we can think about that some more.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, yep. Because we intend to take the, you know, the lighting.
Yeah.
In that reserve, we also intend to take the, work that we need to have for our lawn
Yeah,
done
this
from that
evening.
reserve this,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
Okay? Yep.
Yeah.
At the end of June last year, I believe we had about 1.6 million. I'm sorry, 1.4 million in reserves. I expect us to have about 1.5 at the end of June in reserve funds.
All right.
Big one, of course, being the roads.
Right.
In the fire department.
And yeah.
Any other questions
Yeah.
for Mary or Bob or Terry?
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, y'all.
So if you have any questions at all,
We know where to find you.
feel free to reach out. We'll do what best we can, best we can to answer them for you.
Great, thank you
Okay.
very much.
No problem.
Thanks, guys. All right, moving on, I'm gonna move to table the minutes of March 24 and of April 8.
I second.
Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
And I'll second that.
Okay, she did, and we're good, so we're good, thank you.
Perfect. So those are
Great.
tabled.
Those are tabled.
The meetings are on YouTube in the meantime.
That's right, meetings are on YouTube in the meantime. So, we've got, continuing items, Tyler, if you wanna run us through those, please?
Just really quickly, there's a permit by rule application for a project out on Bear Neck Island. I just add that these continuing item sides of things are less for our ability to make any changes, but more for notification purposes. In your packet, we also sent along the final permit listing for the last assessing year of 25-26, and that was in there digitally. Correspondence wise, I passed along Senator Denise Tepler's newsletter, the response from Maine DOT regarding the joint letter we did with Arousick. I would share
About the
that
roads?
about the marsh raising
Right.
projects up in Arousick. I have been working with DOT on securing a venue in Georgetown that is ADA compliant and big enough to handle the turnout. There was the feeling that the town hall in Arousick was too small. And I said, you should see our town office meeting room. But we are working with the school and it looks like tentatively, keep May 5th on your calendar, which was going to be a ordinance public hearing that is no longer, but it's not final yet, and the state will let us know if that date does work for them, but
Okay.
for what that's worth, I also included the new transfer station brochure. There was some new information in there. Age Friendly Georgetown shared some updates about a free medical and dental clinic that's coming up. If there's anyone in town that can benefit from that, please share that information. I also included the Risk Management Express from Maine Municipal Associations. It's always good to be aware of good practices. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, I'd turn it back to you guys for your updates,
Okay.
for you folks.
Yeah.
I don't have anything. Tyler.
Kathy or Katie, do you wanna start with your update?
Sure.
Please?
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
had a couple of committee meetings, the fire department last night. Chief spoke to the EMS billing info night coming up Thursday at 7 at the Historical Society. Installed the narcotic vaults in both ambulances. The station vault install is coming up. There's an EMS training on the 21st. The fire chief mentioned that the spring fire season is here. So be careful about the top layer. Presentation from the Maine State Fire Federation, which provides some life insurance for firefighters, was really interesting. They also received a $3.3 million grant to support new firefighter training and gear. So if you know anyone that wants to become a firefighter now, next couple of years, they should go for it. The plant sale is May 23rd with any seedlings, donation the day before. FAC, I attended that to hear all the thoughts, and perspectives on that. And then the school board meeting has been rescheduled to Thursday, the 23rd, next week at 5 PM by Zoom. And that's the thing.
We need to change that on the
Yeah,
agenda.
Good catch.
um. I can go ahead and go. The rec committee met recently, early this month, first Tuesday of the month. And, although they didn't have a quorum, they were still, obviously workshopping, let's say, and getting ready for Get to Know Your Neighbor. They put a lot of work into that event as they do, all of their events. And so, just a reminder that will occur on May 3 at the community center. Please, if you know somebody who's a new resident, whether they're a renter or an owner, please make sure to get the word out. I think it's been splashed across all of our social media. And by that, I mean Singing Bridge, Age Friendly, of course, the town social media. And I think signs will be posted down at the wharf, the transfer station, general store, post office, those kinds of things. And that's where our new citizen of the year will be. So that's fantastic. Georgetown Jammers will be playing, Periwinkle Pies will be available, so all of that good stuff. And then, I think, then, of course, the BAC, so I was talking about the budget, the county budget committee, process, and so we should know, and I'll just give you that update. I wanted to make certain because we've built in an extra meeting time, but it does not look like we'll need it. The next meeting is on the 21st. And that's when the commissioners will vote on the FY 27 budget. So county commissioners will vote then. They have been, at least 2 of them have been there for all of the meetings. So that's good. You know,
No surprises.
yeah. And so there you go. They following along. And then on the 7th, that'll be the public hearing on the county budget, be May 7th. And then afterwards, our committee will meet to discuss those public comments, meaning the BAC will meet. And then, of course, the 12th is the commissioners will approve whatever their approval of is, whatever they approve for the FY 27 budget. So that'll be May 12th. And as soon as those pieces are completed, of course, I'll let y'all know.
Good.
Okay.
And the Shellfish Conservation Commission met on April 2nd. They're ordering seed clams to seed areas of Sag Bay. They did do a fundraising drive and received quite a bit of money, and also had money in their budget. Last summer in September, pollution was found at one Sag Bay water site, dog and gull waste, not human waste, which is good news. The clammers are gonna continue testing the water in Sag Bay on a monthly basis, and Manumet is sharing the cost of analyzing it. Thank you. And they're gonna put up clean up after your dog signs at access points around Sag Bay. And they are getting those signs. They have one sign already on. We received notification from DMR of long-term dredging in the Connecticut River, downriver from BIW starting next winter. Public comment is being solicited by DMR through the end of this month, April. And if they receive 5 public comments, they will hold a hearing in this area. The concern of our clamors is that although the dump sites for the dredged materials are not off of Georgetown, they're up the Kennebec River and then over off of Popham Beach on a place called Jack's Reef. Although they're not directly here, there's concern that the sediment may float around and be taken by currents and dropped into the mouth of some of our clamming areas, say in Sag Bay. So that I don't know whether that we're gonna write a letter or not. They were taking it into consideration. And there was the clamming beds at the foot of Robin Hood Cove down here behind the school were closed in a conservation closure a month or so ago. And the members of the Shellfish Commission are gonna go in and test, check and see how the Clams are doing before they reopen, which they'd like to do sometime late this summer, briefly. The Conservation Commission met on the 13th and are talking about Earth Day Island cleanup event to clean up in both the town forests, and also some people are just gonna work around their neighborhoods. Working on MOUs with the community center for the playground in the Empire Natural Preserve. I think they've all signed that. Waterwise well testing is resuming in late June, early July, and people can still sign up if they're interested.
Great.
And volunteers have been out for the last couple of weeks at night looking for frogs and salamanders.
Big night. right?
Yes, and had a really hard time finding them, and we can't figure out what's going on because you can hear them out there. And it seems that perhaps they're traveling late at night, in the middle of the night for some reason. They don't usually do that, but anyway, we're missing them.
Interesting.
Town-owned Property Management Board meets next week, but they had a informal meeting in early April at the old schoolhouse on the Bayport Road, with a bunch of concerned community members to walk around, look at the condition of the schoolhouse and assess what needed to be done there. And they're going to be discussing that at their meeting next week.
They got some volunteer help though.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jason Lang
Good.
planning to step up.
Yes,
Yeah, great.
That's great.
volunteer help and also some in-kind, I think, donations of some materials as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I forgot two updates. The Board of Appeals actually has its, we now fully staffed that with our committee volunteers, and they're gonna have their first appeal after planning board decision. So they'll be getting that in order. Scott Weller and the team of BOA are preparing for that. And Tyler, I've referred them to you, for specifics,
Yeah.
but I know that you and Scott have already been in touch. So thank you for that. And then the Working Waterfront Group, as y'all know, already had its informational night that was very well attended. It was recorded, and now they have, as you know, submitted their ordinance. We've sent that to legal. It's come back. And
Good.
so that's it for those two groups. I forgot them. Sorry. Tyler, I think we're ready for your update, right?
All right, and we managed to take a few of the things off, which is exciting in your updates. I wanted to check in with the board really quick. At our meeting in March, we talked about having Irene Samore from Maine DEP to have a meeting where we could talk about OBDs in
Right.
Georgetown. The check-in I wanted to do tonight, just as we're looking at, I don't want to have meeting fatigue of board members and others. Are we thinking to have that scheduled
After
prior-
town meeting.
after town meeting?
That's fine. Then.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
I couldn't even finish the question, but I agree. I would advise that Irene's schedule is more of an early in the day meeting versus an evening one, so
Great.
I'll work with her for a post-town meeting scheduling. I also wanted to share that Seguin Island Lighthouse Station is currently looking for 2 lighthouse keepers. We've got a link up on our website or on the home Facebook page right now with some information that News Center Maine put out. Anytime there's good news about Georgetown, we want to share it.
Yeah.
And it'd be a great experience for folks out in the summer. I wanted to share Georgetown Central School will be having a community supper on the 30th of April. Details that I can share about that, I believe they went out in age friendly today on their list. We've just talked about the working waterfront ordinance. I would advise that that'll be on the next agenda. And I'd just share with board members that the comments from legal counsel, we will need to make a decision on whether to accept those or send it off to hearing as is. Typically, I'd always say we accept what legal counsel's recommending, but
Absolutely.
that's technically a board decision. And given how late in the season we are, that's not one that we'd want to send back to them to deliberate on. It's at this level.
And those were really comments.
Yes.
Not like this is out of compliance.
Right.
That's how I was taking it, like, so we'll have to make a decision, really, back to the original question, whether this should be a policy or proclamation versus an ordinance.
Yeah,
That's really,
I had the one question that would possibly become, maybe, I don't know if it's relevant or not, but the question about
Yes.
Paths.
Yeah, the
footpaths,
access.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That a property that has a footpath that's regularly used becomes part of the working waterfront. So my question would be, does that property then get assessed and valued as if it were part of the working waterfront?
Oh,
And
I
I,
think it's private property.
well, and I think that in that ordinance, there were a lot of references to what working waterfront would be, but not necessarily that that path would mean anyone would be able to traverse over it, which would have an impact on assessment
Yeah.
if you weren't able to use things that way.
Yeah, I just was concerned that after the fact, we might discover we just opened up a whole category of
Right.
properties that
Right.
meet the definition of working
Right.
waterfront.
yeah, if it did go forward with an ordinance, that would have to be, very specific.
And Kristen had some good edits, and I believe we'll have some time over the
Right.
next couple of weeks to dive into
Yeah.
those, so we can have a good informed discussion. I also wanted to share that nomination papers, the deadline for that passed last week. All 4 incumbents are currently running unopposed.
Okay,
And to that end, I wanted to check in with the board about candidates night. Historically, when we've had contested races, we have a hybrid meeting where folks can attend on Zoom, and lately it's been in the school gymnasium. My recommendation, frankly, would be to do a Zoom only candidates night, given the fact that everyone's unopposed.
uncontested.
It makes it easier, frankly, for the recording to get onto YouTube without some of the feedback.
Mhm.
And I will say, we do have a lot of folks that engage that way. If the board wanted to give me a thumbs up, I could work with Nancy Kinner on what dates are available for her. She does have some trips in the month of May, but I will say that being on Zoom only could keep her in the running for that.
And do we know if all of the candidates, have the technical ability to Zoom?
We could, what we did in the past, the first year that I was here, we did a candidates night that was just on Zoom. And we actually set up several stations with laptops by
Great,
Kirk Lundstrom wanted to do it here at the town office, and we made a point of having a spot for him.
okay,
So,
great, so we could accommodate that again,
absolutely.
okay.
I just wanted to see what else. I wanted to share that Mary and I are working right now on deed work. We've set a deadline of July 1 to try and get all of the deed work and identified splits for the town, so we can get stuff off to the mappers about a month to 2 months ahead of where we've been the last 3 years. It's an ambitious goal, hold me to it, because I think it'll make commitment a little bit easier. And lastly, I just wanted to share that on Thursday, I will be remote for the EMS night, but I'll be recording so we can get that up again promptly onto YouTube after
Okay,
without any feedback. And huge thanks to Terry and Susan for helping manage the setup at GHS.
yeah, thank you.
And if there were any questions, I'm happy. I know I kind of ran through it, but if not,
It's okay, we're trying to get our business done. I do wanna come back to the candidates tonight. I think you wanna nail that down tonight?
not the date, but whether or not it was just Zoom only. And then I could get some dates back from Nancy that we'd set officially next week.
I'm comfortable
Or
with
2
that.
weeks.
I'm comfortable with that, knowing that anyone that may have, access issues, we can accommodate them.
I'm happy with,
Meaning the candidates. I mean, obviously, people want to tune in, but we want to protect the candidates'
Absolutely.
ability to engage.
I'm fine with that.
do you need
As
to
they're
check
online.
with the candidates to make sure they're all?
I do not need to check with the candidates because we will have an alternative here where they can come attend if they'd like to. That said, I would love to check in with this candidate. I'm kidding. So, but I think
Yeah.
that will work and then we can get some good dates from Nancy. I also will check in with candidates on dates. So if somebody's on vacation one of the weeks, that's not the week that we pick. So,
Right.
but that'll be ready for prime time on the 28th.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mary McDonald.
Ram up. March financials, you should have received from me already.
Yes,
Pretty much where I expected us to be, at this time, this time of year. I still do have a few things to work out that I'm just waiting closer to year end. Those items being how much the solid waste committee really needs to take out of their reserve fund versus
yeah,
using their current lines, stuff like that. Same thing for the fire department. You guys had authorized them to use 12,000 out of that capital fund in order for those
Vaults.
vaults, but if they've got a line item that's not completely utilized, I'd rather,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's where, the financials were. Budget, we've already gone over. As I said, I still don't have a physical audit for 24-25 yet. I got back on them again about that today. Ideally, they'll be in touch with me by the end of the week. So, all the work is done. They just need to marry it with the school and then work on any adjustments. So, I'm not expecting anything, but you never know. And as you know, March 31st is the end of the quarter, so taxes, paid family medical, unemployment, all that stuff has already been done and updated. And the sick and vacation time schedule has been updated. And I'm off on Thursday.
Okay, great.
Good update.
Well deserved.
Yes, yes.
That's it for me.
All right. So old business, the EMS billing, we're going to, that's a no action item tonight from my perspective, other than the reminder that we've already given, which is this Thursday night.
Good.
Talk to us about lights.
So we, several meetings ago, the school is following the energy audit, the school is going to be updating their lighting through Affinity Lighting.
Yes.
When Affinity did their walkthrough of the school, they also came to the town office to take stock. They sent along a proposal. There are incentives for saving that come back, but the total was $6,066. The select board wanted to be very cognizant of the fact that there might be local contractors that would be interested.
More budget friendly.
More budget friendly, et cetera. I can say we made attempts to speak with a handful of folks. I can tell you that they made attempts or said they would come to the town office, and it was kind of a no call, no show. There are only so many times of no call, no show before we really have a good product in front of us from Affinity. I would say that getting in on the same system as the school, I think will help us on any repairs.
Right.
There also had been talk about potentially looking at Voc students, and I thought that was a very awesome idea that I wish in my heart we could have gone with.
Right.
But I love the fact that we have a warranty going with Affinity versus
20-year warranty.
Bingo. And in that proposal, there were a lot of good environmental reasons that we should head that route.
Yeah,
But also just on a cost basis, it's gonna save the town money in the long run.
I agree. And it's, it'll make it seamless. This is the same building.
And we'd
Let's just go
wanna
that route.
be doing that work the same time as the school.
Absolutely.
But with your approval tonight of the acceptance of the Affinity proposal, I just asked that included in that motion, you authorize me to sign off on the agreement so they can officially know we're on their dance card.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion now after
I
that.
would move that we accept the affinity lighting proposal and that we authorize Tyler to sign off on it.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. And
Go
that,
out.
and that is money that would be coming out of reserve funds.
Correct.
The memorandums of understanding are still the school in town. We're gonna be working on getting folks together, I think, in the prep for town meeting. Those meetings have taken priority, but we're excited to work on that MOU. And the Conservation Commission, I believe, is working with Recreation on,
I think they were meeting today or tomorrow. Anyway,
That's awesome.
we're waiting for them, but there's a third one between the Conservation Commission and the IPCAR, I'm sorry, the community center. Playground.
and I'll get that on this list for the future.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that one expires till the end of June, maybe,
I think you're right.
currently,
Yeah,
right? I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to the Spirit of America designation.
Yes, and I don't think we have our honorees with us, but
It'll be a surprise.
it'll be a surprise. So y'all keep it a surprise who are in the room. Katie, do you want to handle that?
Read it?
No, do we not want to read it now?
What I would do is I'd make a motion on who you were gonna nominate.
Yeah,
Oh,
And then at the end of the evening, there's a resolution that'll be signed off on. Spirit of America, just for background, is an award that is done where we recognize folks that have exemplified volunteerism and being all around great citizens, kind of like Citizen of the Year, but this is a statewide organization. The county on the 30th will be having an award ceremony. I encourage anyone and everyone who can attend to be there. I hope our recipients can as well.
yeah, we'll make sure.
But
I'll
it's
be there.
exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
well,
So,
then I move to nominate David Polito and Emily Herman
Oh.
for the Spirit of America Resolution Award.
I'll second it. Oh, sorry. We all were excited about it,
And we
sorry.
even have a third one. It's
Yeah,
great.
yes. All right, all those in favor? Too bad they're not here to hear their names, but that's okay.
But it'll be even more exciting when they get the invite tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that gets out.
And you're gonna call them.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and yeah, so April 30th at 10 AM at the courthouse building. And, all right, so then the comprehensive plan check-in, as you know, I put that on our agenda some time ago, but we're gonna have to just, defer that. I'll talk more about doing a check-in. We're coming up on our fifth, sixth year on that, and so, to be continued, not tonight.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
last thing, not to go back to Spirit of America,
Yeah.
I did want to say Georgetowners, come on out. Last year when Bob Trebona and Sharon were recognized as awesome recipients, I think Georgetown, if not had a plurality in the room, it was pretty close. We had the best attendance to send folks off, and I think it'd be great to continue that tradition.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you.
Nice.
Um,
Under new business, I think we could forego official budget deliberations
Yeah.
tonight. We had a pretty enveloped discussion.
yeah,
That said, we did put out, a directive to have folks reach out to the town office by yesterday with possible quotes to seed the front lawn. After the January incident with the underground wires, the front lawn looks like the desert of Maine and Freeport now, and we would like to get the front lawn back up to where it used to be. We did receive only one quote, and that came from Savoy and Son for a total of $2,125. I could enthusiastically support that for two reasons. One, I talked with some folks about, does this fall in an industry range? And it does. And beyond that, in January, when the town needed to get the lights back on, Dale
That's
Savoy
right.
was here the entire
that's
New
right.
Year's weekend,
Yeah.
digging in the frozen ground.
Yep.
So I wholeheartedly support that, and
Yeah.
we'll get that onto his work schedule. Obviously, lighting ideally would be in next year's budget unless they have to do it this year. This would be something obviously this year.
Yes. So, I'll entertain a motion to accept the quote from Savoy and Sons for the seating.
I so move.
Okay. And I'll
I'll-
second. Okay. You second. Okay, I'll
Whatever.
second. All in favor?
And that is unanimous.
Okay, great.
And to take those funds from the reserve.
And a third reason
Thank
is to, support a local business person.
Yep.
Businessman. So it's a third reason to have Dale do the work.
And the last item, Ari, on the agenda tonight, barring the items to be signed, should have said town report cover designations, not just town report designations. I did send out to the select board just under 40 pictures that were submitted through our solicitation of the community. I can say it's very hard to pick a favorite for the cover. Thankfully, there's a front and a back cover, so I can pick two. We also have the authority to pick as many pictures as we'd like to be some of the inserts that help
Right.
break up the tedious financial data that we all find so riveting. So I would say, I'd ask the select board to kind of look at those ahead of time so we could check in and see if there were some clear favorites or not. I'd also note for the record that we did not include any of the submitters' names at this stage because we wanted to be on the merits of the picture, not necessarily who submitted it.
I sent in an email earlier this afternoon, like,
Oh, with yours, okay. Can I do that as well? Or do you need it tonight?
What we could do is if folks wanna send along the email with their favorites, let's say by the end of the week, I can see where the overlap is.
Yeah, yeah,
We still have a little bit of time, but I didn't wanna wait until May, cause then it is too late.
right. Yes, I agree.
and I would like to thank all the people
Yeah.
who submitted, because every single one of them is a beautiful example of what Georgetown means to that
Yeah.
person and to all of us.
Yeah, they were some great ones.
Yeah.
Do we have the one new business item, the citizens petition?
Correct, yes, that
Okay.
was an item that we did add. Thank
Yeah.
you, Aria.
Yeah, no problem.
So we did receive a citizen's petition from Lisa Sabatine to increase the size of the select board from 3 to 5 members. The town clerk did do the initial verification of signatures. 84 were submitted. State statute requires 10% of signatures from the last gubernatorial election. So there needed to be 78 signatures, so it has met that muster. What we typically have done for these kind of citizen petitions, we don't get them often, quite frankly, but for the last one, and I think the good practice would be send it on to legal counsel for review, who would advise on what the next step should be,
Mhm.
and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I move to send the citizens petition to legal counsel.
And I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
And that is unanimous. And I know Kristen will get back to us probably before the next meeting, so that'll be likely be on the next agenda.
Okay. All right, and then we have, obviously we have our items for signature. And then we're back to public comment. So, any public comment in the room? Yes, Terry.
Yes, I did, in reference to FAC. I happen to have three of the more involved budgets, and I have to say, in developing them, Mary has absolutely been indispensable in that process. I mean,
Here.
you're incredible.
Getting our spirit at the town office. Okay, great, thank you. Any other public comment? Yes.
I just wanted to introduce myself.
thank
My
you.
name is Suzanne Andreessen, and I'm running for the House of Representatives for this district.
Oh, great,
And
okay.
I wanted to come by and
Okay, from West Bath.
from West Bath,
Okay,
yes,
great.
indeed.
Okay, thank you.
To just see what's going on. There's been
Okay.
a lot going on.
Okay, super, thank you. All right, and any public comment? Oh, and then we've got our fire chief. Hi, chief.
Hi, guys. Just a comment, and I will thank working with thank Mary and Terry, working with them in the FAC. Although I'm a little disappointed at the process right now with the FAC. After submitting my budget to them, they go on and deliberate and whatnot, and then make the recommendation. I just wish that I was allowed some more further input. Whether if they had decided that they wanted to reduce our budget by a significant amount, by taking that third day away. That I would have been offered an opportunity to either defend it further or possibly come up with some alternate ways to go about that. And that's not something that was offered. I didn't know that was going to be the recommendation until tonight. So kind of disappointed in the process for that little bit of it. Usually it's pretty smooth and simple, but I look forward to possibly discussing this further if anyone would be willing to with the select board or anyone on the FSC in that matter. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
And I just note that at the next meeting on the 28th, Brian will be giving his update typically. Also, we'll have budget deliberations on that agenda.
Great, thank you.
And did we want to, before we're done tonight, I know we were going to circle back to Kathy's point about the meeting on the 28th. Do we want
Yes.
to take a stand on whether or not that's canceled?
Yes, we will.
I know we're in the middle of public comment, but
Yes, that's okay. That's okay. In fact, I'm gonna pause on public comment and deal with this because this is an action item we have to deal with.
I move that we cancel the scheduled community discussion on April 28th.
For short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll second that. All those in favor?
and that is unanimous. Thank you.
All right, and then we'll go back to public comment to make sure that we covered everyone. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any public comment. All right, and so then we do not, I don't believe that, I'm not sure that we're gonna have an executive session tonight. I don't think we are going to need to have one tonight, and so probably for our next meeting. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn at 9:18.
I second it.
Okay, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for hanging in with us.
Yeah.
And that's the same. This meeting is concluded at 9:19.